Hello, welcome to Jantv. This is S.K. Surana welcoming you to a special program related to life teaching. Today we have in the studio Mr. Matt McConnell, who is the CEO of Knowledge and Inc. Atlanta, USA, and he has been gracious enough to come to the studios and talk with us related to his life. It's been an inspiring life. And he will give us some cues on international business and how IT business is going up, and a lot of things related to life in general and his family and things like that. So we start here. Matt, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Matt, your life has been, as we have been talking earlier, has been a roller coaster ride, if I say the least.
It has.
You were born in a family in Atlanta, Georgia, USA, and in the beginning itself I am raising this question because that will set the tone for things. And you were diagnosed with cancer in early teens. How was that experience? And today you are a CEO of a fast growing IT company in Atlanta. How was that transition and how did you handle that? That may be inspiring thing for our viewers.
When I was a boy, I was diagnosed with a type of cancer, and I was told by the doctors that I would not live, that there was a very high chance of me not living through that. And when you face death with certainty and live through that experience, it changes you.
It was what, lymphoma?
It was. And I went through chemotherapy and some surgeries, and I came out the other side. But when you face death and you really face the reality of not living, you change. It makes you decide to live your life a different way.
It can go both ways.
Sure.
It can go in a negative side, and fortunately you went on the positive side. What was
did.
the strength where you derived that strength? It's very courageous, but how did you find that strength?
Yeah, I just believed that if I could live through this disease, that I was going to make a difference in the world. And so when I got through the cancer and became well again, I committed myself to making myself better and making a difference in the world.
Okay, that's really, really encouraging, and it's a lesson to a lot of people. Day by day we see cancer is really growing. So our viewers, they must take inspiration from people like Matt, like who have, cancer is not the end of life. You can always fight it. There are chances if you do, first of all you should try to prevent it, and we will take some cues from him. But it's a key thing that you should not lose your heart if you are diagnosed with cancer. There are stories where people have beat cancer and they have been successful. Matt is an example of that. And on Teachers Day, that's the biggest life teaching we can get from an example who has really done in his life and been successful. Matt, you have written a book related to your experiences. Tell our viewers something about your book on this cancer.
Yeah, well, cancer is a genetic disease, and we actually all have cancer. We have cancer every day.
What's the name of the book?
The book is called Get Well Soon, The 8 Habits of Healthy People.
Okay.
And I became convinced after I got well that I would have cancer again. Just once you have it once, you become aware that your lifestyle causes cancer, and most cancers are self-inflicted.
Okay.
That you cause your own cancers.
Is it not genetic?
You're genetically predisposed, but you create your own trigger that triggers the disease. And so I decided I would study as much as I could and read and watch everything I could on health and on cancer. And after about 15 years of reading and learning and studying, I had changed my habits in a way that had gotten me completely healthy.
Okay.
And decided I needed to write it down in a book. Okay. And so that was the beginning of Get Well Soon.
Okay. Where is this book available?
It's available on Amazon.com. All of the major online websites sell the book. And it is basically about how to avoid getting it in the first place.
Okay. What are the few pointers on?
Yeah.
Can you share with us?
I sure can.
Yeah.
The big thing, and I think this is important for India, In the United States, the culture has developed in a way that we have developed very unhealthy habits. Eating habits, the way, the amount of sleep that we get, the way we deal with stress, all those things change as an economy develops. And it impacts our health.
Yeah.
And so really the book is about avoiding what I call the cumulative effect.
Okay.
And that is the effect of all these bad habits on our health. And so the 8 habits of healthy people, they're fairly obvious. Certainly one is about eating a largely vegetarian diet.
Okay.
Avoiding...
That's an interesting point. This is what in Indian culture also people are usually vegetarian.
Yeah.
So from your research you have found out that vegetarian diet is better than...
It is, and it's not just because the saturated fat in meats. It's because so many chemicals are put into animals, agriculturally farmed animals, steroids and antibiotics and all these things, and they pass through to you when you eat those
especially
foods.
seafood, even mercury poisoning.
Absolutely
and all
right.
the fishes, they eat all the junk.
Yep.
And then that mercury can go into your system, right?
And stay in your system.
Yeah.
So what I say is, if you eat meat, eat organic meat.
Okay.
But it should be, instead of meat being the main course, which it is in the United States, fruits, vegetables, grains should be the main course. The other one is clean water. Our bodies are made of almost 80% water, and the water on our planet is increasingly polluted.
Okay.
So getting clean water is another one. And things like
that.
getting plenty of sleep and dealing with stress appropriately and things like that.
So what's your cue on like dealing with stress? Because everybody has his own philosophy on that.
Yep.
What has been your mantra on?
Well, it's the main thing obviously is not to take life so seriously.
Okay.
That outside of life and death, most things are pretty inconsequential. And there's a strong belief that exercise, which is also one of the habits, helps people deal with stress.
Yes.
And cope with stress effectively.
Yes. Biologically,
So
it has been proven too. It's like stress hormones, cortisol levels, and everything goes down if you really exercise.
Yeah.
So in exercise, what has been your habits related to exercise? Are you a heavy exerciser? Or you just...
Exercise is about frequency more than it is about duration. So it's important. I exercise every morning for 30 to 45 minutes. So it's not about how much weight you lift or how far you run. It's about doing it on a consistent basis.
Right.
To keep that habit formed is the important thing. And that's really the basis for the book, which is if we try to will something to happen every day, we won't be able to do it. It's about forming habits.
Steps. You have to really do things rather than just thinking.
Right.
Get out of your bed and start doing it.
Well, and it's like having a habit. It's like putting your seatbelt on when you get in a car. It's a habit.
Right.
If you didn't have that habit, you would forget to put your seatbelt on.
Exactly.
You form these habits and you'll do them every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's really inspirational to hear about Matt, who has beat cancer when he was 18, and then now he is CEO of Knowledge Inc., a very big BPO IT solutions company. Matt, one more thing related to now coming back to your businesses, and then we'll little bit later we'll talk about your family too. In your business, IT has been a big word in India, and in US also IT has been going on for long, and people have been seeing slowdown. That IT, that big juggernaut, is slowing down. What's your take on IT, and how do you see the future of IT and especially BPO, KPO segments?
Yeah.
Worldwide and in an Indian perspective.
I'm very bullish on IT really for the next several decades. This is just a momentary pullback in IT, but information technology is about automation and automating manual things that can be done manually. And so there is a lot of space left to automate manual processes and make us more efficient at what we do. If you think about manufacturing and how the Industrial Revolution changed the way we manufacture everything and how efficient it is, I still think we have a lot of room to go to automate particularly information work. And making it more efficient. So that's the role of technology, is to automate a lot of the manual things that we do and make the world more efficient.
Don't you think like there is a limit to something? People here in India has as an example, like engineering branches, when people choose engineering branches, just 2-3 years ago, like computer science used to be their first choice, but that's not the case anymore because it's linked with job availability.
Sure.
But I personally, because we are a little more aware than a general public, and our channel is being viewed by mass, rural as well as urban India, and you are in IT and you have come from United States. How do you see the future in India as far as job is concerned? People, do they need to be concerned that their wards, if they choose computer science, they are bad off or they are better off? What do you see in that sense?
I see a very bright future for information technology and computing. I still think we're early in the adoption of technology worldwide. And there are so many ways that we can assist in making the world more productive and more efficient using technology. So Knowledgen is a great example. We help make transaction workers more productive, call center agents, back office workers, field service workers. There is an area of inefficiency that has to do with waiting around for the next transaction. And it's 10 to 20% of paid time is completely wasted on this unproductive time, and we make that time productive. And I think there's pockets of this all over industry that technology can help with. So I still think there's lots and lots of room for technology to continue to be adopted.
That's very interesting, Matt. We will just take a short break and we'll come back and talk to Matt a little more about all these things. Welcome back. We are talking with Matt McConnell, CEO, Knowledgen Inc. USA. We have been talking in general about life and information technology and how it can change life for people. Matt was telling us about information technology. General perception in India has been that information technology is slowing down, and you have a contrary view. And since you are awakened more than the people who are here, tell us more about what you would suggest a young crowd trying to make their livelihood, how IT can help, what kind of steps they should take, what kind of job opportunities, especially in India as well as abroad.
Yeah, I think as I said before the break, lots of room to grow for information technology. But if I were advising young people today, although there's a lot of room to grow in technology, there's also a lot of change. And so the two major changes going on in technology are one, cloud computing. Very little software in the future will be installed
and
on
our
a client's
Indian
premise.
university systems also need to wake up.
Yeah.
They should adapt and change the syllabus according to what the demand is.
Cloud computing is going to be the way everybody computes. It's better for the vendor, and it's the software vendor. It's also better for the customer. And when you have that symbiosis, you can't stop it. Cloud computing is going to be the dominant way computing gets delivered in the future. And that brings me to trend number 2, which is mobile computing. Apple is not the most valuable company in the world by accident.
Yeah, no.
They are dominating mobile computing, and so mobile computing and cloud computing help support one another. But I think the way we think of computing today, where we're sitting at a desk in an office with large servers in a room,
That's
is
gonna go
completely
away.
different.
Yes.
It's about computing wherever you are, on a plane, in a hotel room, in the car, and having immediate access to your resources in the cloud via a mobile device, whether it's an iPad primarily, a phone.
They're going to get powerful, more and more powerful.
Exactly.
So it's your computer in your palm.
Exactly. And so, you know, the thought of a wallet will go away, a passport may go away.
Okay.
All those things are going to be on your mobile phone. And our
Your
lives...
identity, maybe your even biometrics.
Exactly. Our lives will continue to become more efficient as a result of technology. So I think that the future of technology is bright. This is just a momentary, slowdown in the industry.
In
And we've had
general
them before.
industrial, yes.
We've had them before. I think this may be the first big one since India became a major player in the technology space, but we've had these before in industry.
So your message is not to be disheartened, rather be aware of the latest trends, and colleges need to pressurize the university to change the syllabus, bringing in the lab the new technology, attach yourself with cloud computing, mobile computing, and be aware, read, be on the net, read things, and make yourself compete in this market, because survival of the fittest is the mantra going to happen. But in general, what your opinion is that IT is going to remain a strong employment sector, and IT, as far as India is concerned, because it's a people rich country, so many people, doesn't require too many resources, it's the mind game. So IT will always remain at the forefront in India. So it's very heartening to know from you, from a perspective of United States. Now you have been visiting India, I think, the first time, right?
Yes, this is the first time.
Let's talk about your impressions. What do you see here, and cultural difference, and what are the strengths you saw, and what is the weakness you see here India can improve?
Yeah, I think this happens a lot. The strength can be a weakness also. To me, the greatest strength in India is the service orientation of its people. The Indian people overwhelm me with their need to serve their fellow man, and I think that at the end of in business, when technology can be duplicated, products can be duplicated, what can't be duplicated is the service that you provide to your customers. And so I think the great advantage that India has in a world economy, particularly an information economy, is its need, its general cultural focus on serving
people.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge advantage. The disadvantage, or the only negative, I would say, has been my experience in doing business in India and in other cultures is Indian people have a difficult time saying no.
Yes.
And it's important to in business and in dealing with the clients to be able to be assertively say no. And sometimes no is serving someone else.
Yes, yes. He gets an option to go somewhere else.
Exactly.
Otherwise he is kept in dark.
Right.
Things doesn't get done.
Exactly. Yes is not always service.
Yes.
So I think that's
reliability is service. Whatever you say, it gets done.
Right.
Or just say no.
Exactly.
Get done.
Exactly.
This is a cultural issue which probably India needs to address. Learning to say no. Do whatever, promise, and then deliver.
Yep.
What about infrastructure wise? It's must have been a big change for you. Delhi airport and Delhi almost like a foreign city. But what about driving through India? What were your experiences and meeting people, seeing the color and
what's fascinating
splendor
to me in India is the ambition of the Indian people. At whatever economic status someone is in India, everyone works hard, everyone serves one another. That's fascinating to me. From an infrastructure standpoint, a lot of developing economies, I've seen a lot of developing economies in Latin America and Central Europe and so on. The infrastructure as we think of it and as we've thought of it in the past is very different in the future, I think. It's internet coverage, mobility coverage, those kinds of things are important. Roads and sewers and things like that are certainly important. But the infrastructure of all these buried cables and buried lines and all those things, I don't think those are necessary in developing economies any longer. Right. You can leapfrog some of the antiquated infrastructure.
That's an advantage in fact.
Absolutely.
If a new mobile network, they will probably get the 5th generation.
Exactly.
Rather than a United States network still carrying the 3rd generation equipment.
I mean, you still have to have energy and healthcare, but then
education.
As long as you have broadband connectivity, I think, and it's wireless, I think that the deployment of that infrastructure can go much faster than it has in developed economies.
Yes, Matt, you talked about service and that India can excel in the BPO and KPO segments because culturally they are more prone to providing service and more apt on that. And on top of that, if IT is added, then that's an added advantage providing BPOs and KPOs. First of all, for our viewer, what is the difference in BPO and KPO? Because many of them, they may not know that.
Yep. BPO is primarily focused on existing business processes within a company, and a business process outsourcer will take a process, say it's a call center process, and take that process as it exists, and run that, usually transaction oriented, run that with labor in another market.
Right.
A KPO is more focused on
It's
taking
knowledge process.
exactly knowledge process outsourcing, taking that process, and usually involves some knowledge work and analysis around it. So legal work, mortgage work, patent work, accounting, and I think that's probably, although I continue to think the BPO space will grow, I think the knowledge process outsourcing space will grow even faster.
Okay, and more the communication costs going down.
Yeah.
Whether you are sitting in Jaipur or sitting in Atlanta, it doesn't matter. You could be almost like next door, right?
Exactly.
The FaceTime, Skype, and all those technology make it almost like that.
The one thing I would add is, whether Americans will admit it or not, we have a language bias. Even in our own country, if someone living in the Midwest has a call answered by someone living in the northeastern United States with a different accent, there's a language bias. And so in a BPO field where there's a communication element,
human voice communication,
right, I would say doing everything you can to try to neutralize that language difference will benefit the process.
Improve that language accent gap as much as we can.
Yeah.
So that's another cue to all the aspiring people who want to venture out into IT and get some jobs. Please work on your personality as well as your language skills, because most of the jobs which will be end customer would be either in Europe or in United States, and the language skills. So you watch movies, American movies, and colleges are encouraged to set up language labs. That will help people get better jobs, right? They will have a competitive advantage. Now coming to Matt, your family. You have been a family man. You've been married almost 15 years, right?
Yes.
And tell us about your family and what the family values you are putting up in your family, and what is your general family life?
My wife and I met in the 7th grade, and we were 12 years old.
High school sweetheart.
Yes. Well, actually, we were best friends first, and then we didn't get married until after university. But we've known each other practically all our lives.
Okay.
And we have a lot of background
So she was
together.
through with you when you were having cancer? She knew about it?
Yeah, we were friends at that time.
Okay.
And she sort of walked through that with me.
Okay, that's great.
But it was very important that we were friends first. And so we married. We have 3 children, a 13-year-old girl, an 11-year-old boy, and a 7-year-old boy. And for us, family is the center of everything.
Just for our viewers, what's their names?
Madison is my girl. Madison Elizabeth is her name. Is my 13-year-old girl. My 11-year-old boy is Jackson Matthew.
Okay.
And my 7-year-old boy is William David.
Okay.
And they are the center that my wife and I build our lives around our family. And in spite of my work, I have very strict rules about family time.
Okay.
So when I come home at night, there's no calls, there's no work. I don't do work on weekends. I'm with my family.
That's very important.
Yeah, it is. And
this is a little bit missing in American culture. I think you're trying
not
to
a little
bridge
bit,
that.
a lot missing. We call it the rat race of trying to gain in your career and gain financially
at the cost of your children.
At the cost of your wife, your marriage, and your children. And I believe that they say in the United States, happy wife, happy life.
Right.
And so we focus in my family on our time together. We spend a lot of time together, a lot of time on education, a lot of time in just developing our children into understanding the world, serving each other. So family is the center of everything for us.
That's very nice to hear. We hear a lot of things about American families, and in that era you are bringing up your children in with a lot of family values. It's really appreciable. At the last, we'll talk about your final. You have been a good author, so let's not deprive our viewers related to your last book, which you have just written related to customer service, right?
Yes.
Tell us something about that book.
Customer Service at a Crossroads is really about the industry of telephone customer service being at a crossroads and having a decision to make about where it goes. The industry has been very focused on efficiency, and how it's all about how fast you can complete calls. And
so in a nutshell, this book is available in the market?
It is. It's also available on Amazon.com. And the book really focuses on, we will either as an industry continue to focus on speed and deprive customers and our businesses of what they really could get out of customer service, or we'll balance speed and effectiveness.
Okay. So it gives a framework based on which you can use technology, right? It
Exactly.
talks about the basic philosophy, what we need to change with technology.
And what customers want from
what
customer
customer
service.
wants. First, listen to customers.
How to be efficient but still deliver what customers want.
Thank you very much, Matt, and that concludes our time. We're running out of time. So thank you again coming to Jantv studios and sharing your life and thoughts with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.